Right, so welcome. Welcome to this introduction to this course of reinventing yourselves. This session will be recording for those who haven't been able to enter now and be watching it late, right? So I'm really excited to start. I always really, I think it's so beautiful to be able to accompany people, unblock. I think there's so much creativity out there, and so many times we have ideas that, with one or another reason, they're blocked. And during these 12 weeks, you're going to start noticing how beautifully everything starts changing. And I'm going to start with a poem, yeah. And this is Khalil Gibran, and it's called Fear. It is said that before entering the sea, a river trembles with fear. She looks back at the path she has traveled, from the peaks of the mountains and the long winding road crossing forests and villages. And in front of her, she sees an ocean so vast that to enter, there seems nothing more than to disappear forever. But there is no other way. The river cannot go back. Nobody can go back. To go back is impossible in existence. The river needs to take the risk of entering the ocean, because only then will fear disappear, because that's where the river will know. It's not about disappearing into the ocean, but of becoming the ocean. Yeah? Well, isn't that a beautiful poem, right? So other people have just joined. Nadine, Sergio, welcome to this 12-week course. I'm very excited to have you here with me. I always start with a poem for those who entered just, a few minutes later. And I'm very excited, right? This course, I've done it several times. I've done it, I think the last time I did it in English was about 2 years ago. Yes, I've done it in Spanish. I've done it every year. And anyway, it's a beautiful experience. So let me go back to sharing the screen so we can continue with this. So it's time to reinvent ourselves, right? So many things going on, so many changes. And Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. So what do you want to think? So when you realize how powerful your thought is, well, yeah, if you think you can't, you're right. And if you think you're right, you're also right. Yeah? So this journey, we're going to start realizing what our thoughts are. Yeah? So you can have many dreams, many ideas, but if you don't put any action to that dream, it stays an illusion. So now we're going to start to put action to make those dreams a reality. Yeah? So Joe Dispenza says that every day we have 60 to 70,000 thoughts, of which 90% are the same as yesterday, and they're going to be the same as tomorrow. Well, somehow we get a bit stuck in our thoughts. So this journey, we're going to start realizing what we are thinking, what we want to continue thinking, and what we're going to let go of. So in this cartoon, I love it, like, what are you doing? Oh, I'm here suffering for imaginary things, because it's just, they're your thoughts, what you're living in, because someone else with that same situation would see it from a completely different angle, right? And then 90% of the time we worry about things that are not even going to happen. Yeah, so things I worry about, and look at that really big circle. Yeah, of everything we worry about. Okay, what things can happen, and then in the end, things that do happen. Yeah, but we spend so much time here in just thoughts of what I could do. Maybe I do this, maybe I do that, but then if this happens, and it's infinite. Yeah, and you can go on and on. But in the end, it's a thought. So you can't pass by. And then just blows it, and it's just a thought. So you start realizing the power of your thoughts and our blockages through our own thoughts, right? So this book of The Artist Way is the book we're going to be following. It's 12 weeks, 12 chapters, right? And Elizabeth Gilbert wrote, The Artist Way brings much insight, gently helping you to see what is holding you back and showing you how to move forward. And this is what's going to happen. Yeah? We're going to start moving forward, but we're going to know where we're going to move forward. All right. I don't know if you have ever heard of Elizabeth Gilbert, but she wrote the book Eat, Pray, and Love. Yeah. I don't know if you're familiar with it. which then became a film with Julia Roberts. Maybe you saw the film of Julia Roberts. It's one of my favorite films. I love everything that's like full of love and soppy. And yeah. So she said that without the artist way, Eat, Pray and Love wouldn't have existed. Yeah? So when you realize this, and many people took this course, they had a project, had been working on it, and after doing the artist way, it was complete. Yeah. So this book works. I have seen it work for many years with many people. You just need to follow this pattern, the tools, the way it's done. There's a certain way that we need to work. So these 12 weeks, today, this is the video, I'll be sending you the video of the introduction, right? But then we're going to start working on 12 weeks. So the first week, this coming week, we're going to work on the sense of safety. You're not going to do anything unless you feel safe. You're not going to launch a new project. You're not going to move or anything until you feel safe. Yeah. Then after safety, we go to identity. We go into a sense of power, sense of integrity. Week 5, we go into a sense of possibility, knowing that it can be. Then in a sense of abundance, sense of connection, sense of strength. We later go into recovering a sense of compassion, self-protection, sense of autonomy, and sense of faith. So during these weeks, this is what we're going to work on. And it covers all aspects of our being. And it's going to be fascinating to notice where the block is, because the block is on a subconscious level. And by doing these exercises, we find it. Okay, so 12 chapters, 12 weeks. So each week you read one chapter. You don't go to the next one. We're working and focusing on whatever it is. So this week it's going to be safety. So you do not go to the next chapter. Even if you have finished everything, you stay working on this chapter of safety. We're going to start doing morning pages, which I'll explain to you a bit later on. We're going to have an artist date. And when we talk about artists, it's not necessarily an artist. I mean, I think businessmen are also artists. You're creative. So we're going into this creative. So the book talks about artists, but it's also businessman, anybody, yeah? Because everybody has creativity, okay? Now, I want you to buy the book, yeah? You can get it as an ebook, as an audiobook, or as a paperback. You can get it in English, Spanish, Portuguese. I don't know if they have it in Latvia, Ines, but whatever, you can get it in any language you want, okay? In the link that I sent you at the beginning, there are the links for each book. So I'll send it to you later. I'll send you the link so you can purchase your own book, okay? Now, I want you to buy 2 notebooks. Why 2 notebooks? Because in one notebook, you're going to be doing your morning pages, okay? You can start off until you get the notebook. You can just do it on sheets of paper, yeah? But I want you to have one notebook for the morning pages and another notebook for the exercises you'll be doing. Now, if you want to, you can do the morning pages on one side, then turn the notebook over and do the exercises on the other page. That's an option that you can do if you want to, yeah? However, in the end, you do so many morning pages that you'll end up filling up the book. So if you get 2, fine. And if you just want to use one, I want you to have the exercises separate, because then you'll go back and you're going to start noticing the changes in you through those exercises, all right? So 2 notebooks, and this journey, it's starting to get to know yourself. And it's going to be really interesting, getting to know all these subconscious beliefs we have about ourselves, and they're going to start to unfold. And this time we have a choice to decide if we want to continue with those fears or those behaviors, or if we choose to move forward, right? So this is going to be an ideal week, right? So Saturday, we get together, right? If for any reason you're busy, you can't come, I'll always be sending you the recording, okay? And on Saturday and Sunday, you read the chapter, okay? Now the chapters are very short. This first week, yes, this first week is more of a challenge because you have to read the introduction and week 1, right? So it's a bit more to read. So you might feel, a bit more pressure, but there's a bit more, but it's just the first week until you start adjusting, fitting into this program, right? So today and tomorrow, read introduction and week 1, right? Which is recovering the sense of safety. Now, you're going to start doing your morning pages, okay? So every morning when you wake up, you're going to write 3 pages, okay? Oh, about what? About anything, whatever's in your mind, okay? Because if I said you have 60 to 70,000 thoughts, of which the same as yesterday will be the same as tomorrow, we get stuck in those thoughts. So you're going to start writing out those thoughts, 3 pages. Now, if tomorrow you don't do 3 pages, it doesn't mean that the next day you have to do 6. No, you do 3 pages. If you just did 1, well, you just did 1 until you start getting into the rhythm of writing 3 pages. If you want to write 4 or 5, fine, but you need to write 3 pages, okay? And here, above all, it's being nice to yourself. Notice, what do you say when you don't do the 3 pages? Oh, you did it again, you're not good enough, yeah? What do you say to yourself? This is what I invite you to notice. What's that voice that judges us so much? What do we say? And that's what I want you to write down. And when you write, you just write constantly. You don't have a full stop, a period. You just go, oh, and now I'm so upset because and then I have to do this. I don't know what to do. And oh, I'm going to go to the supermarket and buy this and this. Oh, and then later on, whatever. It's just really the thoughts are in your mind and all your fears as well. And that is what you're going to be writing constantly. Okay. Then there are weekly exercises. At the end of each chapter, there are a few exercises. Now, these exercises, they seem a bit simple, yeah? Maybe write a letter to the editor saying you're sorry. And you're like, how am I going to do that? Just let go. Just write a letter. Oh, I'm sorry, whatever. Because all these exercises, without you knowing, they're exercises that work on a subconscious level. It's combined with holistic programming and it opens new neural pathways, right? So you just do it. Even though it seems like a silly exercise, do the exercises. Now, please notice that Monday to Friday, you can do your weekly exercises, yeah? Don't leave it for Friday night before we meet on Saturday, yeah? Because it doesn't work that way. You have a whole week of working on these exercises. So somebody's going to say, this voice that criticizes you, where does it come from? Is it a teacher? Is it a brother, a mother, a father? So you're going to need time to sort of notice where those voices come from. So if you leave it for Friday, you're just going to do something very quickly. So you have the whole week. So at least on Monday or the Sunday, read the questions and then gradually answer them. Now, something else I've noticed is that some people are like very strict. Okay, so they do exercise 1, exercise 2, and then they get stuck with exercise 3 and leave it. Well, you skip exercise 3 and you do 4 or 5, but then they find it difficult to not do 3 and go to 4. We'll go back to 3 later. So do the exercise which are easier for you, which are quicker, and the ones that need more thought, just give them the whole week to work on it, okay? So it doesn't matter if your notebook isn't perfect and has number 1, number 5, number 7. You don't even have to put the numbers. It's just to do them. And the curious thing here is the exercise which causes you, which is harder to do, which causes a bigger struggle, that's the one you need to work on, okay? Right? Now, there is also an artist state. All this is what you'll be reading, okay? So, the artist state. To be really honest with you, for me, this was the hardest thing. I didn't have an artist state till week 4, okay? So I'm asking you to start having an artist state next week. What is an artist state? Well, an artist state is a date with you, just you. So suddenly, okay, Carmen, we have a date. Where am I going to invite you? I'm going to go and invite you to an Indian restaurant, or I'm going to go invite you to go to Playa Concha. Yeah. So it's just a date with you, nobody else, just you. And what happens in this journey is we're going to start to love ourselves. We're going to start to know what we like because we forget we tend to be there for others. And we're really going to get to learn to love ourselves, right? So that's the artist state. Now, I have a WhatsApp broadcast list. So when I write, hello, everybody, I'm writing to all of you. But yet when you reply, it's individual. I don't have a WhatsApp group because for me, this is an individual journey of each one of you. And I believe your project is yours, yes, and I'll support you individually, right? Now, during this journey, if suddenly an emotion pops up which overflows, you call me immediately. If I don't answer, I'm in a session or whatever, but as soon as I can, I'll be there for you, because suddenly these voices or these things, they suddenly unblock an emotion, and you just call me immediately and I'll be giving you that support. Okay, so I just wanted you to know that when you receive something and it says, hello, everybody, it's from the broadcast list. And if not, I'll be calling you by your name. All right. Or you'll notice when I'm talking to you individually. Okay. So this book is going to help you unblock whatever. So if you want to write a book, if you're going to write music, painting, you want to lose weight, do exercise, if you're starting a business, if you're retiring, if you've just got divorced, if whatever is your situation, yeah, whatever change, we're opening up this space to reinvent yourself. Okay. Now, it doesn't matter if you don't know what you're going to do. It doesn't matter if at this moment, oh, I'm not sure if I'm going to do this or this or this. It doesn't matter. You will know as the weeks go by. All right. I just want you to be open to think of all those possibilities and allow them to come to you. Right. So I wanted to share with you that in 2004 is when the first time I knew about this book. Right. And this book changed my life. I was struggling. I was writing a book, and through my paintings, I was sharing my life. It was my autobiography. Yeah. And for 5 years, I had a bit here and a bit there, but it was like a bit of a chapter here and a bit of a chapter there. And it was 5 years with this wonderful project where I wanted to help lots of people, but it was in the air. For one reason or another, I never got the pieces together, right? So then I read the book, and by week 10, my book was ready for printing. Yeah. So it works. And I've accompanied many people, and it works because we suddenly have so many fears. We have fears of being successful. We have fears of not being loved. We have fears of hurting people. We have so many fears. And each chapter takes away blockages. So by week 10, all my blockages had gone and the book was ready. Yeah. So after that book, yeah, I have a small editorial company, and I have all these children books, and I'm in a small niche of sharing how your family was formed, right? So how this happened, it happened with this book, yeah? Would I ever have ever thought that I would end up doing children's books? No. I have them in many languages as well, right? So when you open up to this creative energy, anything can happen, okay? So there is a creative energy that wants to express itself through you. The idea came to you, yeah? Share what you lived with others to help others. Write children's stories, yeah? And the idea comes, and you have this idea above you, the idea of a new song, the idea of doing a new business, and you have the idea here. And the idea through you will be created, right? Now, there's this lovely book called Big Magic, yeah? So Elizabeth Gilbert, remember, I mentioned you, that she's the one who wrote Eat, Pray, and Love, right? Well, she also wrote this book called Big Magic. And in this book, she talks about this energy, this creative energy. And she says how you have the idea, and then, for one reason or another, year goes by, another year goes by, 5 years go by, and you don't get to do your book or whatever your project is. And then suddenly someone else does it. And it's so annoying. That was my idea. I was going to do that, and then someone else did it. And what she says is, yes, there is this energy, and if you're not going to do it, it's going to go with somebody else, because that idea needs to be manifested. And this is what she says in Big Magic, which I think is really beautiful. So she was saying how she had this idea of this book, and how, 5 years went by, and suddenly her best friend wrote it, and she'd never shared it with her. So she knew it was impossible for her to have those ideas of that book, but yet the book was done, right? So this is really important. You have an idea. Through these weeks, you're going to create it, yeah? So what happens, she says here, creative living beyond fear. Guess what? We have so many fears, so many fears. And I used to be a school teacher. I used to be lots of things. You'll know lots of things about me as we go along, but I used to be a school teacher. And I believe fear is like a white curtain that comes in front of you. Yeah. So my students, when they had an exam, they were 10-year-olds. Yeah. There's like this white curtain that comes in front of you and you don't know what to do. And you really think you know nothing. You know nothing of the exam. You know nothing what to do because you've got this white curtain. So I used to give them some gummy bears. Yeah. In Mexico, we have some gummies that look like bears. So I'd give each student a little gummy bear and I'd say, it's not any gummy bear. It's magical. It has all the answers to the exam. Yeah? So for me, it was like a little trick to help them overcome their fear. So we're going to talk a lot more about fear. Yeah? And I'm going to talk a bit more about Anita Morjani later on, because she's a lady whom I admire a lot, and she also talks about fear. Okay, so with this creative energy, this idea that you have, as I said, it doesn't matter if you already have it now or you're starting to have it, but you will have it in a few weeks. Don't judge your work or judge yourself, right? We're going to start, just continue advancing on it, right? So without judging, just continue. So if you're writing a song, continue writing the song. Don't judge, don't stop, continue, and then go over it and fix it later, right? So in a way, it's like there's this beautiful hummingbird in a golden cage, yeah? And this project, this idea needs to fly, needs to have its space. It's a beautiful hummingbird, whichever project you have, and it's allow it to give that space to fly free, right? And Julia says, let God, universal energy, divine source work through you, right? So this is what's going to start to happen during this course. Now, Michelangelo, right, did this amazing statue out of marble, right? And they're perfect, but so perfect. So they said, how did you do it? How come they're so perfect? What was your secret? And he said, no, they were just inside the block of marble. I just took the excess off. So I was fascinated by this. So just imagine, I want you to imagine there's this block in front of you, and you've got this beautiful statue inside, and you're just taking the excess off. So I saw his unfinished work. Look at this. This is amazing. It's so powerful. This is what he saw. So he saw this man. You see this man here, like even you want to help him get his hand out. It's there, yeah? And just taking this excess off the hand here. The leg, the foot, you know, here, his foot here, the leg. So how beautiful that he said they're in there and you're taking the excess off. So this is what it is to connect to your project, your help. There's help, yeah? It becomes easy for you. It starts flowing. It's there. You're going to allow it to flow, and through your hands, you're going to finish the sculpture of whatever your project is, right? Someone else who mentioned this was Puccini. He said, the music of the opera Madame Butterfly, he says it was dictated to me by God. I was the only instrument that put it on paper and communicate it to the public. So in a way, I want you to see this idea, this project, this new way of living, whatever, and through you, you're going to allow it to be manifested. And I believe everything is energy, right? So the way we vibrate is what we attract, okay? So if I put here these different glasses of wine over here, yeah? So this is do, re, mi, fa, so, right? If I vibrate in do, well, this one will vibrate with me. If I in mi, do, re, mi, this one, right? So when we start noticing things in our lives which don't resonate, we're in a way vibrating at that level. We're vibrating to attract these things. So if we start seeing things like a message, and we start write, why is this happening to me? And you write it and you write it and write it in your morning pages, you start getting answers. But when you start noticing, if I were to say this is a loving relationship, this is a boring relationship, this is an aggressive relationship, this is a relationship of infidelity, how are you vibrating? And whatever you see in those glasses is how you are vibrating. And we can change our vibration. It's a choice. And this is what we're going to start working on. By the morning pages, we're going to start noticing what we do like, what we don't like, and what we can change, right? And then we choose to vibrate, yeah, with what we want. And this is what we're going to start learning on these weeks, right? So Julia talks about God. You can call God, universal energy, divine source. And if you're an atheist, agnostic, whatever, you can continue being an atheist or agnostic, but allow yourself to believe in this energy, this divine source. And I wanted to share with you, when I did this course in 2004, I had an issue with God. I was so angry with God. I had lost so many babies. I was going to adopt a child who died. I had lost sense of living. I was medicated. I didn't want to get up in the morning. I had lost sense of living. Yeah. And I was so angry with God. Like, I'm such a good person. I'm such a nice person. Like, why am I going through all this? But yet, for me, it was part of my journey and part of my awakening to be where I am now. Right. So here, you can believe whatever thoughts you have, it doesn't matter. Yeah, you can believe in God, universal energy, divine source. Yes, I like calling it divine energy, right? But you can call it whatever it is according to your beliefs. And if I said, as I said, if you're, it doesn't matter if you're agnostic or an atheist, it doesn't matter. Just allow yourself to imagine this magical source of energy, right? And through the mere practice of writing and playing, there will be changes, right? So even if you don't believe in anything, just by doing these exercises, you're going to start noticing the changes. And there will be an opening, whether you believe it or not. You're going to create changes in consciousness, and then synchronicities begin. And this is so beautiful, yeah? How everybody said, you come and you're not going to believe this, but suddenly I bumped into someone who did this and did that. So when you start putting your heart and energy into something, you start meeting people, you get the correct idea, you get the correct client, everything just fits into place, right? So it's to have faith and to dare to jump. So the book is full of beautiful quotes, and there's one that says, have faith, leap, and the net will appear. Yeah, well, we don't leap, do we? We want to make sure, okay, so when I know my next step is safe and I have control of that next step, then I'll do it. But to dare to leap, that's where the magic is, all right? It's leaving this comfort zone, uncomfortable comfort zone, to go into the magic. And then Dylan Thomas says, the force through which the green fuse drives the flower. Yeah, how beautiful, right? And she said, Julia Cameron said, I learned to get out of the way and let that vital energy express itself through me. Now, this is really powerful, the sentence. I'm going to repeat it. I learned to get out of the way and let that vital energy express itself through me. Get out of the way. Let that flow through you, accumulate pages, no judgments about yourself, right? So many times you have the idea, oh no, I don't know how to write, and you don't do it. You are in the way. It's allow it to be creative, okay? So through the book, you're going to start clearing challenges, and you're going to start noticing how creativity starts emerging, okay? So we have so many fears. We want to control everything. We want to know the future. We don't like going into the unknown. We prefer being in an uncomfortable comfort zone, yeah, because we know it, than going into that magic. But to go from here to here, it's a bit uncomfortable because there's change, right? And Einstein says to go from one place to another, if you continue doing the same, there isn't going to be any change. So we're going to start changing. I'm going to start noticing these shifts to go into the space where the magic happens. So fears, wanting to control, okay, well, I'll go there if I know what's going to happen next, right? So this is one of the things we'll be working on. Now, the morning pages, right? These morning pages, you just write, okay? There are no right or wrong way to do the morning pages, okay? So I say it's releasing mental rubbish, okay? Because of these 60, 70,000 thoughts, of which 90% are the same as yesterday and will be the same as tomorrow, they're the same. And you're thinking the same things, the same things. So when you start writing it out, you start noticing you have a clearer mind. And it becomes so much easier. So the first day is maybe, If you don't swear, you can write swear words. If you don't talk bad about someone, you can talk bad about it. It's just getting it out, yeah? And you just write, and you get everything, all those thoughts, all those emotions out, and you repeat, and then you write the paragraph, and you repeat it again, because that's what happens in your head. So when you have released all this mental rubbish, you notice how during the day, you feel much clearer. And it's like easier to see things differently because you're getting out all these thoughts, right? And you're also starting to get in touch with the subconscious mind. In a way, it's like a meditation, right? The secret is to calm the mind, to get it out of the way, because the mind comes with the fear. The mind comes with, oh, you're not good enough. Oh, you're not lovable. Oh, you're not worthy, right? So when you do the morning pages, you start to calm the mind, you get the conscious mind out of the way, and it's sort of like a walkie-talkie. And so many people who have done this course continue doing the morning pages afterwards, because it's such a beautiful exercise. At first, sometimes you struggle a bit, to be honest, to do those 3 pages. And it's like, oh, I've got to get up half an hour before. Like, what am I going to write? It doesn't matter. I don't know what to write. I don't know what to write. I write 3 pages and I don't know what to write. Then gradually you start noticing how you unlock it, right? Synchronicities will start happening. And this is so beautiful. So suddenly you think, oh, I want to do a business of designing notebooks, yeah? And then suddenly you meet someone who has the paper, someone who has the company that makes the type of notebooks. Because once you start putting your heart and your energy towards something, you're vibrating that way, and you attract the type of clients you need, and so on. So Ford used to describe the brain as an iceberg, right? So he would say 5% is the conscious mind and 95% the subconscious mind. Right now, that 5% works at 40 bits of information per second. And the subconscious at 40 million bits of information per second, right? So we're here in that 5%. And in that 5%, oh, so if I have so much, then I can do this, then I can do that. And you're stuck in that 5% with 40 bits of information. But when you have access to the subconscious mind, and how do you have access here? Well, hypnosis, meditation, being in contact with nature, just calming your mind, you have access to the subconscious mind, right? And through your morning pages as well, okay? So Anita Morjani, she says, we go around life as if you're in this enormous library and you have a torch and it's dark. So you're going into this library and it's nighttime. So you have a torch and you go with your torch, and with what you see in front of you with that torch is what you decide. So with this, I can do this, I can do that. But that, what you see with that light is 5% of your brain. So you are limiting yourself. And this is what Julia Cameron says, get out of the way. And getting out of the way is like turning the light on of the whole library. So we go around life with this 5%. Oh, so if I do this and then I do this, but we limit ourselves without only using our conscious mind, okay? So to know a bit more about Anita Morjani, she wrote this beautiful book called Dying to Be Me. And she had a near-death experience. So she talks about this near-death experience and how her life was full of fear and how she had cancer. She died momentarily and her life was full of fear. So she says, live life fearlessly. And for me, that's so powerful. We have fear of everything, fear of using the microwave, fear of eating this, fear of whatever, yeah? Letting go of fear and living life fearlessly. She talks about other things, which I'll be telling you later on as we go along, because I admire this woman a lot. But live life fearlessly. So in our fear, yeah, this is one of the books in my autobiography, yeah, where I painted chairs, yeah, because I wanted another chair at my table. I wanted a family, right? So, but I expressed my emotions. So this was a path that hurts, yeah, but you can't see and you're stubborn and you go down the same path, yeah, and you're going down the same thing and the same thing happens and you meet the same type of people and you have the same type of losses, but yet the shadow doesn't, because it's going within and answers are within. So it's still time to change and take this path. And I'm inviting you to take these 12 weeks to take this other path. So you reach your goals and stop falling in the same patterns that we were before. Okay. So going back to this 5% of our conscious mind where we are, yeah, Juanita Morjani invites you to surrender, to let go, to get out of the way, as Julia Cameron says, and the infinite possibilities of things that can happen when you get out of the way. Yeah. And this is what happens. I never thought I'd do children's books, yeah, ever. Yeah. I never thought I'd be an international lecturer. Never. Yeah. But when you allow things to happen, there's so much magic and you have so much potential of things that you can do in service to others. I've just finished reading this book called The Surrender Experiment, right? It's a beautiful book. And he just wanted to live out in the country, have long hair and flip-flops, right? But he would surrender to things that happened. And he ended up being a CEO and a very rich person. And he continued having his long hair and flip-flops, right? But it's so beautiful of how anything can happen. Yeah? So when you surrender, get out of the way and open up to receive, because we tend to be giving. We don't really know how to receive. So it's opening up, being worthy of receiving. Okay. So I'm going to talk a bit about the brain waves, but as we go along, I'll be giving you more and more information. So when you're fast asleep, you're in delta waves. Yeah. When you wake up in the morning, yeah, and your eyes are still closed and you've realized you're awake, that is theta level. Okay. Now you are highly suggestible. So when I hypnotize people or do regressions, I take them to theta level. Yeah. So I say, oh, you want to do exercise. Oh, you want to do your morning pages. I don't know, whatever you're working on this time. Yeah. You're highly suggestible. So you can auto hypnotize yourselves. So when you wake up in the morning, today I'm going to do this. Today, yes, I can achieve this. But yet, if we wake up, oh, it's so difficult, it's another day, what am I going to do? You're creating that. Yeah. So our thoughts are very powerful. So especially in the morning, whatever your thoughts are, even if you feel you're lying, oh, today I resolved this. Oh, yes, today, oh, I'm so much thinner. Oh, yes, I'm doing so much exercise. Just tune into that because it's a hypnotic level. Alpha is like if you're watching a sunset, you're in contact with nature, you feel much calmer. And when you're in theta and alpha, your brain is open to have new ideas. How many times hasn't it happened that you go on holiday? And when you're on holiday, you come back with so many ideas. Why? Because you went out of your everyday routine and you opened up to these new ideas. But this is what's going to happen during these weeks. And beta is the level we are at now. And high beta is when we're under stress. And when we're in high beta, it's very difficult to be creative. It's very difficult to find solutions to things because we're under stress, which we'll talk more about later. Okay. So your morning pages, the ideal moment to write your morning pages is when you wake up. So you can have the notebook on your bedside table. Yeah. What I do is I just move back in bed, put it on the bed and write. So my handwriting, you can't understand my handwriting and I'm half asleep and you just write. Yeah. So you're in a theta level, which is a highly hypnotic level. So you get out all your rubbish and then maybe, oh, and I can do this and I'm sure I'll find a solution. And then after a few days of writing all this rubbish that we're carrying with us, you'll start having ideas. Oh, call so-and-so. Oh, do this. I remember once I was going through a phase, it was a very difficult moment, and I wrote 3 pages of help me. And I wrote, help me, help me, help me. And I cried, help me, help me, help me, help me, help me, help me. And at the end, I wrote, go to Puebla. What? Go to Puebla. And I did. I went to Puebla, I ended up doing 5 trips into Puebla, and the situation I was going through was solved. Yeah. Why would I go to Puebla? Well, I went to Puebla. Yeah. So open up to these things. Yeah. Open up to the magic of your morning pages. Now, if you get up and check your phone, guess what? You're not in theta or alpha anymore. You're in beta. Yeah. So beta is not the same. I mean, do your pages, yeah? But the more relaxed and half asleep you are, the better, the more powerful the morning pages are. Okay. And it's just writing when you're half asleep and you just write. And do not read what you write. You don't need to have a good handwriting. You go from one thing to another. Yeah. Just get it all out. And we're going to start getting to know ourselves and letting go of so much rubbish that we carry. I went to a Vipassana retreat, which is a 10-day silence. Yeah. I thought I'll never be able to be quiet for 10 days because I love talking to people. And I thought, maybe I won't talk, but with the eyes, I'll be saying hello, yeah. But no, I managed to do the 10 days, and it was so powerful because whenever a thought comes, the thought has to go. So it takes about 3 or 4 days to stop thoughts, right? And you realize the most silly thoughts you have. Like, why on earth am I thinking that? Yeah. So the morning pages is such a beautiful, easy way to get out all those thoughts that we no longer need. Okay. Now, with the artist date, as I said, it's a date with yourself. As I said before, it took me 4 weeks to be able to have an artist date because my issue was learning to love myself. So I want you to have an artist date. Where are you going to invite yourself? And I'm just asking you once a week. I'm not asking you an hour every day. Okay. Just once a week, invite yourself somewhere. Do something you like. Go get a massage. Go window shopping. Go get your hair done. Whatever, yeah? But just you. So this is what we're going to do, right? The ideal week. You're going to read this week, the introduction and the chapter. You've got the morning pages, yeah? As I said, if you don't do 3 pages tomorrow, you don't have to do 6 the next day. It's always 3 pages. If you want to write more, you can. If you just write 1 page, be nice to yourselves, yeah? And just write, okay, well, how did you feel? Because you just wrote 1 page, right? But we're going to start noticing what you say to yourselves. Do you have to be perfect? Do you have to do exercise 1, 2, 3? What are you saying? Oh, you can't go to exercise 4 till you've done 3. Some people are so hard. Notice that voice, okay? We're going to become our best friends and your artist date, okay? So in the link I sent you, I'll send it to you again. They're the links to purchase paperback, Kindle, or Audible. I think you can work fine with Kindle, yeah? And I'll let you have it immediately. Audible, what happens is it goes to the next chapter, the next chapter, the next chapter, and it's not very clear where the exercises are. However, you can get both if you want. You can get the Kindle and the Audible, right? So what is your homework? I'll send you this through WhatsApp, okay? It looks like a lot, but it's not. It's just I want to explain what you're going to do, right? So you get the book, right? Then you buy your 2 notebooks. Now you can buy 1, yeah, and use one side and the other, but I suggest 2. You're going to read the introduction and week 1. So it's a bit more reading this week. Now, in the reading that you're going to do, there's a contract, okay? And in the contract, you say, I, Carmen Martinez Jover, will do this exercise and do the 12 weeks, whatever. So you can either print it and put it in your exercise notebook or write it by hand. Just and write what the contract says, and then you sign it with today's date or tomorrow's date, whenever you do it. You do your morning pages, you do the 3 pages, yeah? You do the exercises at the end of each chapter. Don't leave it for Friday. Start doing it on Monday so you can really think over them, yeah? Especially this week, you're starting to see who, those voices, which monsters were there in your life, yeah? Where do they come from? Was it a teacher? Who was it? So just have time to go within and, when I say this to me, it comes from this, and have time to analyze these voices, right? Have your artist date. Think of a goal, and I don't want you to share it with anybody unless someone who's with you in the project. Why? Because you say, oh, I'm going to do this business and I'm going to sell ice creams in Russia. And they're going to say, what a silly idea. No, if you think it's a good idea, hold on to the energy of that idea. Don't let other people drain. Keep your enthusiasm to that project, okay? Now, I do not want you to go to chapter 2. So if you finish chapter 1, do not go to chapter 2. We need 1 week to work on the sense of safety. Even if you finish all your exercises by Monday or Tuesday, the whole week you're going to continue with your morning pages, staying in this sense of safety. We can't go anywhere. We can't advance unless we feel safe. Now, another one of the exercises, it says print or write basic principles and creative affirmations, okay? You can print it, stick it in your notebook, or write it out if you want to, yeah? So here, as I said, in her basic principles, she says, she mentions God many times. And for me, I had big issue with that, but I would read it anyway. So she would say for the first week, just read the basic principles every morning. And I would. Now, if you do it every morning or not every morning, they're about 10 sentences, yeah? Just read it for 1 week. Yeah? And if you don't read it, well, don't read it. But just write how you felt and why you didn't read it, okay? So this is what you're going to be doing, okay? So this week, what we're going to have your creative recovery, and you might feel a bit giddy, defiant, hopeful, and skeptical at the same time, okay? Just do the exercise. You're going to start establishing a sense of safety, and you're going to be able to explore your own creativity with less fear, okay? So as a reminder, we've got the basic principles, the morning, the creative contract. You're going to start working on inner child, yeah? Creative affirmations. We're going to do a bit of time traveling, which I love when we do that, and imaginary labs. So it seems like a lot, but it's not, okay? So your morning pages, half an hour. Maybe at first it takes you 45 minutes, or maybe it takes you an hour, yeah? But you'll reach half an hour to do those morning pages. And I calculate an hour a day is more than enough to finish the exercises and to do everything. This first week, you're going to feel a bit more because you're getting into the rhythm, but then it's going to be much easier for you, okay? So let me see all of you here. Right, so welcome on board, right? So this was the introduction, and from now on, we're going to start working on 12 weeks. So I'm going to stop the recording.